On today's episode of Wrong Side, we dive into the World Series spanking the Dodgers are giving the Yankees, a college recap, and a look ahead to a top five matchup in Happy Valley, NFL, where heartbreak occurred again for the pod, and a special moment in Cleveland for Jimmy D and the Browns, clutch moment of the week, and outside the line. In a world full of champions, we find ourselves on the wrong side.
Welcome back, Wrong Siders. Happy Halloween. Today is October 30th, and the Dodgers are probably World Series champions by the time you are first hearing this. We're recording this on Monday night, where the Dodgers just went up 3-0 in the World Series over the Yankees, winning 4-2 in the first game in New York with a garbage time 2-run shot by the Yankees to make it look close. I think the final score is 42 at least, but as a non-seam head, I know you're probably like, why is Joey starting off this portion of the episode? But I just got to say that I'm pissed off. As a fan of sports, as a fan of competition, as a fan of seeing people thrive when the lights are brightest, I'm pissed off at sports right now. The Dodgers are a super team with Shohei's first season in LA in the red, white, and blue. It's like a Disney movie out here, and I can't get enough of it. You got the Dodgers, the Celtics, the Chiefs. It's the year of the puppet, except for the Philadelphia Phillies, which is more wrong side than ever for our boys. But Dodgers go up 3-0. No team has ever come back, in my knowledge, in the World Series down 3-0. And it looks like, especially once the Dodgers get Shohei back, they're going to win for the next 10 years and maybe even 100. So, Michael, take us through kind of what you saw from this series. Is there any chance the Yankees are going to be able to at least make it interesting? I know we're going to talk specifically about Judge a little bit down the road, but what do you got here for us?
Yeah, 3-0. Personally, I'm shell-shocked. I didn't think it was going to be this dominant. The Yankees have struggled beyond words other than a few bright spots, the Soto homer in game 2, the Stanton homer in game 1. They've had their moments and really haven't done much. I saw this afternoon watching the game 3 when Freddie homered to make it 2-0. I saw at that point in time in the series, 10 out of the 12 runs the Dodgers have scored are all from home runs. Pretty insane stat if you really think about it. I can't really believe it. I said from the beginning of the series that I think the Yankees have better pitching. I thought they did going into the series. I thought they were going to have a better series. I said Jazz was going to need to step up. I said Tommy Edman was going to step up for the Dodgers. Tommy Edman has more than definitely not stepped up. Jazz has really struggled. It's been embarrassing for New York. I think it's really bad for New York. It's 3-0. I think there's no shot. There's never been a team to ever force a game 6 down 3-0 in the World Series. There's been one 3-0 comeback ever, the 2004 ALCS, the Red Sox Yankees, which the documentary just dropped. Documentary just dropped on Netflix. I watched the first episode. Really good. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, I haven't finished it. But through one episode, really good documentary about sports. Theo Epstein, obviously you're very familiar with him. But Theo, one of my favorite people in baseball history. I think he's a genius, young kid, leading them, breaks the curse, etc. But that's beside the point. No one ever forces a game 6 in the World Series down 3-0. Not only is this bad for Yankees and Yankee fans, it's really bad for them because of the Mets. The Mets fans, they hate the Yankees, and they got 2 games on the Dodgers. Even they won 2 games. They made it a series. They won it. They got it to 6. This might not even make it to 5. And it's shocking to me. I think at this point, the Yankees, the best thing they can do at this point is try not to get this to happen on their home field. You don't want them to win in your field. They showed a highlight today in game 3, the Marlins, when they beat the Yankees in 2003. I think that was the last time someone had won in New York on their turf. Obviously, they won in 2009. I think they won at home in 2009, but that was the only other appearance of the 2000s was 2009 after 2003. They didn't make it in between then. So truly remarkable. I mean, and the cherry on top to how bad this series has been for the Yankees is this morning that story drops John Heyman is reporting that the Dodgers are going to be very interested in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. You're
Yeah.
up 2-0. This report's coming out. I mean, just another dagger to the Yankee fans' heart. I can't believe it. I feel for Stein. I'm upset, obviously, rooting. I mean, I'm not the biggest Yankee fan in the world. I'm not. I wouldn't even say I am a fan of them. I would just say I don't want the Dodgers to win. It sucks that Shohei's going to win. You're right. Hollywood couldn't write a better script, and they're going to be good for a long time.
It sucks. I would argue at this point it's looking worse than the Kevin Durant Warriors with just the dominance and ease they walked through this season and this postseason with. And you hate to see from New York the pitching, like, yeah, a lot of home runs in this series. I was with our other friend Derek at a Halloween house party. He went out to a bar crawl Saturday night as a Yankee player after the game. Tough kid out there to walk the streets of Wrigleyville to do that. But after game, I think it was game 1 in LA, the Freddie Freeman walk-off, he was out the door. He made it clear he was going to leave if the Yankees lost. Fair and reasonable take. Totally. He was out the door before that ball hit the ground off the Freddie Freeman walk-off. But the pitching, yes, hasn't been great. A lot of home runs. But, I mean, even holding the Dodgers to 4 is no easy feat. So the pitching, I guess, gave their best effort. Obviously, again, it's the Avengers. It's the Dodgers. So it's a tough task to do. But really, from an offensive side, like, none of these games were even interesting. Yeah, they maybe had a couple opportunities with bases loaded or runners in scoring position, stuff like that.
Pitching.
But yeah, the Dodgers pitching was dominant. Yankees were asleep at the plate. The AL MVP, take it away from Aaron Judge. I know we're going to dive into that and just really how awful he's been specifically at the plate. But from an offensive perspective, the Pinstripes, they failed this October for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely bad. I think the rumor all season from game 1 from game 1 of the regular season after they traded for Juan Soto is who knows how long he'll be here. Who knows if the Yankees will pay him. The Mets want to sign him. Obviously now the Dodgers, we know a lot of teams are going to be interested in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. I believe he's going to be the highest paid non-Shohei Ohtani player in sports all time. He's 26 years old in his second World Series. He's playing some of his best baseball. He's not even in his peak yet. He's incredible to watch. But my game 1, Aaron Boone going with Nestor after being basically unavailable for a month, and his first appearance is bottom of the 9th or bottom of the 10th, I'm sorry, in the World Series, it is remarkable to me. I couldn't believe they went to Nestor. He threw 2 pitches, a fly out to Shohei. They intentionally walked Mookie with no pitches, and the grand slam to Freddie. I couldn't believe it. And the next night, game 2, Tim Hill comes in, basically faces that same part of the order, doesn't give up a hit. I think he has 2 or 3 strikeouts. That's the guy they should have brought in who was dealing in the ALCS. So Yankees are down 3-0. By the time this comes out, the series might be over. It's going to be a long 10 years. It's going to be a long, long 10 years. As an Angel fan, as a fan for the sport, what sucks too is the Dodgers, to be honest, I believe aren't even that healthy. No Glasnow. He's been out all playoffs. Shohei's not pitching. They have other arm Gosselin and their young guys, May, and those kind of guys. Those guys have been hurt on the mound. Freddie's been banged up. Didn't matter. He's probably going to win World Series MVP. It's truly remarkable. They're a juggernaut. They're now a feeder. Japan is now a feeder league for the Dodgers. It seems like they're going to go after Roki, who's going to be probably the Cy Young in the Japanese league this year. It's tough. It's tough to watch. It makes me sick to my stomach that the Angels let him walk. I do believe there's some sort of Babe Ruth curse coming our way. It's probably, I mean, it's already started, but I think it's coming our way. It's, when the Red Sox let Babe Ruth go, same thing happened to them. I fear it could be happening to us, but it's truly remarkable. I feel for Stein. I don't feel, I don't really feel bad, obviously, for Yankees fans. They win a lot, but I feel bad for Stein and the fans that do stick it out and the fans that are dedicated. It's tough. And a 3-0 World Series, maybe Manfred could work some magic. I know he's going to be pissed if this only goes 4, less ticket sales for him, less gear for him. But yeah, incredible series so far for the Dodgers. But I know you wanted to hit on Judge a little, so I think we should dive into that.
Yeah. So I was watching the game, trying to stay interested, and overall a pretty miserable night of sports here on a Monday night with the Giants also playing. So tough day for New York. But
the Knicks lost to the Cavs.
And the Knicks lost to the Cavs. Tough day, Stein. I'm sorry. But what I was just kind of thinking about, trying to watch the game, trying to stay interested in the World Series, which was kind of tough to do today. The concept of a playoff choker. And obviously, Aaron Judge, this has been kind of the story of his career. he just falls asleep in the playoffs. To go from being historically one of the best hitters of all time, one of the like best home run hitters of all time in the American League, to like truly they're intentionally walking people to get to the AL MVP. That's like
Right.
Rudy Gobert behavior in the NBA playoffs and the finals last year, just going at the defensive player of the year, going at one of the best hitters literally of all time. So I'm not even talking about like he's an MVP this year. He is historically one of the
You're
best to
right.
ever
No,
do
you're
it.
absolutely right.
So to go to sleep the way he does, and I'm not even saying this like trying to like rile up Stein or any Yankees fan that may be listening, but truly like from a game that is so process driven, a game that is so mental, a game that is so backed by analytics, to have one of the best to ever do it fall asleep the way he does is just so interesting to me. You see other people like James Harden, Joel Embiid, other players through other sports. Obviously, you can weigh the differences in those sports all you want, but specifically in baseball and talking about Aaron Judge, talk about a slump. He's great in the regular season, falls asleep at times, and always falls asleep in the playoffs. So I guess in your history, like, what do you think of it, Michael? If you were ever in a slump in baseball, all the way up through college club level, how were you able to get out of it and kind of stick it together? Like, explain Aaron Judge to me because I just can't get my head around it.
Yeah, I mean, from my side of things, I'm not Aaron Judge. I've not played in the major leagues. I played club baseball as my highest level of competitive ball. Um, but those slumps weigh on you, I think, more than you think. It's very, in my opinion, I agree. I know that I didn't play football. I played basketball most of my life too, about till eighth, ninth grade. But I never played football, so I don't know the real mental part of that. I know obviously it's tough. You only play once a week, but you're getting banged up. It's a tough game back and forth. The mental part of baseball is such a wicked torture. You're thinking about it in every aspect of life. When I was in high school and I would go through bad slumps, and it would, I would go a week or two with maybe 1, 2 hits, and I'm struggling. Everything feels like it feels like the pitches. If the pitch is coming in at 75, let's just say, it feels like it's coming in at 95. If the first base is 90 feet away, it feels like first base is 190 feet away. It's such a tough game where, everyone thinks it's so crazy, but it's a sport where if you fail 70% of the time, you're a Hall of Famer. You're a
Yeah.
Hall of Famer if you fail 70% of the time. The Judge thing is very fascinating to me because it I don't even know. I mean, for me, when I would go through bad slumps, like I'm thinking about it every single day. Even in college where it's just club ball,
Yeah.
you're so dedicated to the game. You're so dedicated to your craft. It's so hard to play it. You're thinking about it in the smallest things. You're trying to do everything. Baseball is a very superstitious game. Very super.
For
I mean,
sure.
my whole life is very superstitious. I mean, I think because of baseball. If I wear my Ohio State jersey and they win, I'm going to wear that Ohio State jersey till they lose. So I was wearing
Yep.
the same Ohio State hat and jersey till we lost to Oregon, for example. We lost to Oregon. I was in a different outfit this week. So it's so weird. It's such a game of, and the worst thing about baseball is it's a game that it will punish you if you let it, in a sense of you can get in the cage, you can put in that work, but it's going to be something even smaller than that. It's going to be,
Yeah.
you're going to hit a ball 95 off the bat and it's going to go in the hole and shortstop's going to make a diving play and throw you out of first. You're going to hit a ball in the gap. It's going to get caught. You're going to piece one up. It's going to be right at the third baseman. It's such a cruel game. When I look at Judge from an outside perspective, he's pressing. I don't know. What's crazy to me is he is failing in these biggest moments, and he's not the best playoff player at all. Not just this playoffs. He's consistently a bad playoff performer. What's
Yeah.
crazy to me is it's one thing to be Mike Trout. The Angels only have been to the playoffs once with him. He only had one hit in that playoffs. That was it. It's over.
Mhm.
I think it was like he was 1 for 11, 1 for 12, something like that. It was really bad, but it doesn't matter. The lights are always bright in New York. From game
Yeah.
1 to game 162 and on, the lights are bright. It's not like he has no idea what it's like to play in that city. It's not like he is. And it's not like when he goes to LA, it's not like LA is even bigger than New York. They're both gigantic teams, gigantic cities. He fails. And I don't know what it is. It's so mental now at this point. I think he's pressing. I think
Yeah.
the stress of it. And, when it's one thing for Stanton to struggle, it's one thing for Soto to struggle. He's the first captain since Derek Jeter. And, Obviously, I'm a Derek Jeter fan. I think he's my favorite player of all time. I'm a Derek Jeter homer. I'll fight for Derek Jeter. And you can say he's an average fielder, or people can say their own complaints. Oh, if he was in Seattle, you'd never know about him. If he's Kansas City. Well, he wasn't. He was in New York. That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
But for him, he had good seasons and he had great seasons. And then he had okay seasons throughout his career. But it didn't matter. Once it got to October, he was incredible. I sent you that screenshots today. And he played 158 games in the playoffs. He had over 300. He had over 200 hits. He basically played a full season in his career in the playoffs, and he was an all-time great. That's what you do in those moments. You show up in those moments. You set the tone. He had moments where he was up, and I remember vividly, he was struggling in one playoff series, and he got up, he crowded the plate, he gets hit in the hand, he got in, he got hit. He didn't care. He wanted to get on. It's the small things then. You're trying to do anything to help your team out. Jeter wanted to do that. I don't think Judge can do that. He's swinging out of his shoes. He's not thinking about it. To me personally, not only Judge, I think the Yankees have an incredibly awful approach right now at that plate. Just in that last ninth inning, Gleber came up. He was facing Kopech. He knows what Kopech has, but Kopech throws him 2 fastballs. What are you looking for down the middle? What are you going up there? No approach. That's the only sport where you need to go up there with approach. You're sitting something. You're focusing on something. You can understand a defense in football or how to do a pick and roll in basketball. But from the baseball side of things, you got to be figured out what you're going to do. There's a plan, and with all the advanced analytics, I still don't buy half of those analytics. Getting on base, get a hit. There's still the basic ones that matter, and he can't even do that. He's not walking. You're right. They're walking Soto to get to him. They're not scared of him. They're
the MVP.
I mean, it's incredible. And the crazy thing is, he's struggling so poorly. We're ignoring how poorly Shohei is struggling as well. Shohei has not been good in this World Series either. But he's been bad the whole time. Everyone said when the Yankees made it, well, Judge just has to wake up. He was bad in the ALCS. He has to show up in the World Series. He hasn't showed up. It's too late. If he wants to, tomorrow he could have 3 home runs. Amazing. Still 3-1. It's still too late. You got to be able to do it in the brightest moments. And I know this is, I was watching an interview on Fox after they lost Game 3. Or after Game 2, and you saw it in Jeter because, I watched how Jeter interacts versus how A-Rod interacts. A-Rod is flashy; he doesn't care. He likes being on TV. Jeter doesn't. Jeter hates people. He hates the Red Sox. He hates the Dodgers. He's rooting for the Yankees. He's gonna come out and say he's rooting for the Yankees. It's weighing on him. I think it's weighing on the fan base, and it's incredibly tough to watch. Just because he's such a great player, and it's so mental. He's so stuck right now. It's such a bad, and he's been stuck before. But it's been in April and May. He had an awful April this year. Awful.
Yep.
And it didn't matter. He turned it around. He figured it out. He fixed it. He's done nothing to fix his approach, and it sucks. I hate to see him struggle like this, but it's the truth. It's so mental. And as a Yankee, everybody knows Yogi Berra, 90% of the game is mental, 50% of the game is physical. He has to – I know that makes no sense. It's a Yogi-ism, but it's true. You got to go up there with a plan. You got to, and – when I was younger, I had a coach in baseball. You wear a hat every inning, every at bat. You have a helmet. I had a younger when I was coach. Whenever you had a bat, you go like this. You pull your hat down, go like that. It was like a toilet. You're gonna flush it. Flush that moment.
There you go.
Flush that moment. And I don't think he's flushing that moment. I think it's just so compounded now, and it's too late, unfortunately, for Judge. It sucks.
Yeah, again, this series may be over by the time people are listening to this, but it's just so interesting. Like you said, it does suck. You really, as someone who doesn't root for either team and is frankly kind of rooting against 2 of the biggest titans in baseball, to not see at least some quality out of these super high level players is disappointing in a number of ways. And I can only imagine what Yankees fans are feeling. Obviously, a lot of issue there, but we'll see I guess next year, famous Cubs saying next year's our year. So we'll see what the pinstripes come back with next year. So congrats to the Dodgers, I guess. We'll see how it goes, but on to college football. I know we got a lot to talk about here. Buckeyes with a grit fest in Columbus this weekend, huge game next week in Happy Valley. What did you think of the game this weekend, and how are you feeling heading into Penn State with Drew Aller already listed as a game time decision?
Yeah, I saw he's got hurt in that first half, and it was basically his decision to sit out that second half. He said he didn't want to let the team down. Whatever. I get that. They didn't look great. I felt like Penn State, even in the first half with Drew Aller. I also saw something. You can confirm if this is wrong. Did their O line also get banged up a little in that game? I was reading something that potentially their
I think, yeah, but I don't know
I don't
specifically
know
who they're
which
missing.
players or anything specific, but I did see that potentially some of their O line and D line maybe got banged up a little. I know they've been banged up a little through the season, so something to monitor there. For Ohio State, on the Ohio State side, or Penn State, basically, I should say, is a very good team. I think their defense is very good. They
Hmm.
run the ball very well. They're a very good team. They're always a good team. To be honest with you, I think they're the same team every year.
I agree.
I think the 12-team playoff, in my opinion, was built for these teams: the Ole Miss, the Penn States, Texas before this year, I would say, before the last 2 years. But the teams that have that one loss, two loss, the Notre Dames, same thing. I
Yeah.
think the 12-team playoff was built in design for these type of teams. That Penn State's so good, they go 10-2, they lose to Ohio State and Michigan in past years, but they get a shitty bowl game or get like maybe a New Year's Six game if they find the spot in the New Year's Six game. So I think the Penn State team is a good team. I think they had a good win against Illinois. I think they're going to be a good team. They're not going to be an easy game, no doubt about that. I think.
For sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
Top
go ahead.
five matchup. Unstoppable force meets immovable object. Ryan Day in top five matchups. Ryan Day versus Penn State. Ohio State versus Penn State.
Yeah,
Historically, they are little brother for us, but I'd have to go back and look because I feel like though they are always really good, they always end up right around that 10-2 mark with losses to Ohio State and Michigan. It doesn't feel like they're ever quite ranked this high. I know they
no,
returned a
no.
lot of
This is the
players,
highest. This is the highest they've been in a long time. I feel like you're right. It's usually like Ohio State is 3-4 somewhere in that range, and Penn
maybe
State
a
is like
top 10
18.
matchup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
top
maybe
10. You're absolutely right.
up there, top
I don't know
10,
the
maybe
last
top
time they were
15.
ranked a high of us before us. Maybe 2016, 2017 was the last
Oh
time they were
no.
ranked ahead of us.
Well, my potentially my most right side moment of all time. I drove from Columbus to Iowa City to watch number one versus, or maybe it was number two versus number three. Iowa play Penn State. Iowa ended up winning a really ugly Big Ten game my junior year of college. So they've been up there. They ended up losing a couple weeks later and like ended up tumbling down in the rankings. So
Gotcha.
curious to see if they usually fall for trap games and haven't this year, but
Yeah.
they feature a defense that is leading the nation in sacks over the last few weeks and highlighting Ohio State's offensive line here. That does make me a little nervous. Drew Aller not playing. He looked like shit against us last year, to be
Yeah,
completely
he looked
honest.
like he didn't even know how to throw a football last year. Yeah.
It was crazy. So and I know they were in Columbus last year, being on the road, it's a big noon kickoff game. Lucky it's not a whiteout
Huge.
game.
I think
So
that's really important for the Buckeyes. It's really important for the Buckeyes.
100% agreed,
Bad
but
for the
still not.
fans, great for the Buckeyes.
Big noon kickoff is destroying the sport, but I love a noon game. I feel like Bears are the best at noon. Ohio State, I feel like I'm comfortable being at noon, so that'll be good. But I am a little worried about the O line. Kind of an ugly game. Not a lot of success running the ball against Nebraska last week. They're a good Big Ten team too, putting it together on the defensive side of the ball. Rail is playing good. A couple bad bounces here and there, but they were hanging in there the whole entire game. But Simmons' injury is apparent. We're going to have a lot to deal with Penn State's defensive front. I hope we continue to use our talented skill players on the outside and just drive the ball down the field. I think it's going to turn into one of those Michigan slugfests where there's going to be a lot of Big Ten football, ball control, time of possession, stuff like that. So
Yes.
hopefully we're all healthy. I know we won our appeal for the targeting, so we should be at
Huge.
relatively full
That was
strength.
awesome. I actually don't remember the last time that's ever happened, to be honest with you. I really don't.
I know.
I was shocked when I saw that and when I heard about it this morning. But that was incredible. Incredible. I mean, like, it's just so stupid. Like, I don't understand how you can appeal that and it be overturned like in a day. Like they were like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
you're right. Like, like what changed from that review? They went to review. You have to review the targeting. How did they? I don't know what determines the targeting in moment to be like actually maybe a wrong call. Truly incredible. I don't remember the last time that's happened. Maybe I know it has happened in the past, but I can't remember the last time it
Right.
happened for the Buckeyes. But truly remarkable. I mean, and sent you that tweet this week, but 2-0 in bottle throwing games. Ohio State threw the bottles. and got overturned on Sunday morning on Monday morning, and the PI in the Texas game got overturned. So 2-0 in bottle throwing. So take notes, fans.
Yeah, Ryan Day encouraging it too, practically. What did you think of Ryan Day's tantrum on the sidelines? It feels like the more they go on, and I'm not throwing Ryan Day under the bus. I know what you may
You're
be
saying
thinking,
this
but
play, this specific play when he lost it.
he lost it. I'm not even talking about the flag because the official was right behind
Yeah,
him.
that was
no way he
so
was gonna
dumb.
see him.
That video you sent me was so ridiculous.
That pissed me off. But just like his tantrum in general, I feel like he's always like throwing a tantrum over a call. Again, the Buckeyes get the wrong end of the stick a lot of the times, but he's he does a lot, and I know he's under fire a lot in Columbus. So what do you think of his, I guess, emotional sideline antics at times?
I mean, I would rather him do that than not do it. I'd rather him do that than sit there and be like, "Oh, you're right, targeting." Like, I'm not going to fight for my guys. I mean, just last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, when Georgia played Mississippi State, Kirby gets into it and like shoves a player. Like, I mean, like Kirby gets
absurd.
upset. Kirby gets upset every week, I feel like, and we've seen Saban throw his headset. We've seen Jim Harbaugh get mad when he was at Michigan. We've seen top coaches get upset. It happens. I think Ryan Day just gets Ryan Dayed, in a sense of people love to clown, people love to hate him. It's true to me personally. It's truly remarkable how much of a microscope Ohio State is on compared to the rest of the nation. This past year specifically, everybody loves to talk about Ohio State $20 million roster. Here's the thing about that $20 million roster. First of all, there's about 10, 15 teams in the nation that are about 10 million to 20 million. Ohio State's one of them. That's number one. Number two, they use the portal. We use the portal for Caleb Downs, Seth McLaughlin, and Will Howard. Who else? Who else do we use the portal for? Those three guys. You're mad that we spent the money on
Judkins. Did you say Judkins?
Oh, Judkins. You're right. You're at 4. They're mad we got the best players in the portal. That's what you're mad about. Versus Ole Miss, who I think got 15 players in the portal. That all
Indiana
help out.
Has all of JMU.
Right. So the anger towards the money in the portal is you're mad that Ohio State was good enough to get the top 4 guys. That's why you're mad about the portal. They didn't get 20 guys. They didn't replace their whole team. They spent $20 million because all their juniors came back. That's why they spent the money. That's where the money is. Will Howard didn't get that much money. Caleb Downs got the money, and Judkins got the money. Those are the 2 big earners in the portal for Ohio State. Those guys got the money. No doubt about it. So that's that thing. Ryan Day, he gets so much hate. And at times, I agree with some of it. At times, I think people are nuts. I said from week 1, you want to be mad at Ryan Day? This is before any injuries, before a snap was played. I said, you want to be mad at Ryan Day? Be mad at Ryan Day for not firing Justin Fry, the O-line coach. That's what you're mad about Ryan Day about. And lo and behold, we're 7 games in, and that's the main glaring issue now. Now, the O-line, I will say, was perfect, I would almost say, up until the second half of Oregon. Simons goes down. Obviously, we go into depth. But the depth issue is created by Fry failing at recruitment. So that's why I believe you want to blame Ryan Day. You can 100% blame Ryan Day for that. 1,000% blame Ryan Day for that, not firing Fry. Agreed. Everybody's in agreement there. But to say that Ryan Day can't do it, to say that Ryan Day can't win, it kind of makes me upset. Ryan Day is 45-0 against unranked teams. And I know what people are thinking. That doesn't matter. Win the big games. I get it. No, 100%. I understand. We need to win the big game. I get it. Ryan Day's been to a national championship. Ryan Day is a semifinal win. Ryan Day has been on the wrong side. Double entendre.
There you go.
He's been on the wrong side of so many bad situations. Think of his tenure at Ohio State. The interception against Clemson.
Do we have to go through this right now?
Well,
it's been a rough weekend for me.
But I'm just saying, like the things, so small, and the last 3 big games, I would say Michigan, the last Michigan game, the Georgia game, and Oregon. Those are 3 big games we lost, unfortunately.
I can picture them perfectly.
-8 on the total differential. 1 point to Georgia, 1 point to Oregon, 6 points to Michigan last fall. He's right there. 1 throw away. You're absolutely right. To me, Ryan Day is still that guy. Do I respect Urban Meyer? Absolutely. Urban Meyer is arguably, you could say, one of the best coaches in Ohio State history. Never lost to Michigan, won a national title. You're absolutely right. Urban Meyer may have never lost to Michigan, but Urban Meyer lost a lot of games that Michigan game did not matter for. Iowa, Purdue, Virginia Tech. Luckily, that game mattered because they won the Natty that year. Urban Meyer lost a lot of games where that Michigan game was awesome because they kept winning their rival. I know that's what everybody fucking cares about. But the Michigan game didn't matter because the season was over. And the last couple of years, we've lost to Michigan. We're praying we get in. That's what happens. And we were talking about it today, the Oregon game. You mentioned to me, you said we failed our first test. I think failed is a strong word. I don't think we failed. That's 32-31 on the road with a wacky game. A weird fumble, the kickoff that hit our guy somehow that was poorly kicked, that weird 12-man on the field penalty, weird stuff. We'll get a weird one. I believe it. I think Ryan Day is the guy. My reason being, I don't think there's anybody that can take over this job and keep us in the spot we're at. I don't think Vrabel or Meyer or Saban or Chip Kelly, I don't think any of those guys are able to take over right now and keep us. I think we're going to be Michigan if that happens. I truly believe that. We'll go on that drop.
If Nick Saban comes knocking, are you saying no?
No, you have to answer the door. If Nick Saban came knocking, you answer the door.
You have to answer the door.
I don't think he's going to come knocking, so I'm willing to write him out. But, I mean, to me, like, is the O-line bad? Absolutely. Is the season over?
It's a problem.
Absolutely not.
Agreed.
I think that Fry is the problem. I think everybody believes he can't win the big one. And so far, they're right. So far, they are right. But Kirby Smart struggled for a long time before he became Kirby Smart. He was getting even in his last year. Even this last year when Alabama was almost down, you could say. They lost. They lost in the SEC game. Didn't make the playoffs. They lost. To win football games in college, weird things need to happen, and we haven't had a weird thing in a while. We'll get one soon. I think this is the chance. We get Penn State on the road. We get Indiana. We get Michigan. A chance to play Oregon in Indianapolis. They win out. They make the playoffs. We're a top 4 team in the nation. Is Oregon that bad that they only beat us by 1? Or are we that good that we just struggled 1 week? It's okay. It's I think a lot of people don't understand. Back in the day, the BCS mattered. You got to win with style points in the BCS. There were 2 teams, and it was so subjective. It was the AP poll, the coaches poll. There was years where Ohio State split titles, USC split titles because they didn't really know who was the winner because there wasn't a real 1 versus 2. The BCS was style points. In the 4-team, 12-team playoff, you got to win. Just win, baby. And Ohio State keeps winning. They get a chance. And you come to Ohio State for games like Penn State. You come to Ohio State for games against Michigan. You come to Ohio State for games against Oregon. I believe in Ryan Day. I believe in this team. And also the last thing I'll say about this week, fake news for anybody saying that they were praying during Carmen, Ohio. Carmen, Ohio was over by the time they were praying in midfield.
That was okay. I do want to talk about the at-home environment just because that's been highlighted so much this season specifically. But quick negative Nancy. Let me rain on your parade real quick as the most negative fan I've ever known in my life. Ryan Day is under a microscope. He gets a lot of unjust criticism here, but it all rolls up to him. At the end of the day, it's his ass on the line. Obviously, like head coaches are scapegoated constantly in sports, in football specifically. The causes for concern over the last few years. So you look at Michigan first. Ohio State is 3 goals. Ryan Day said it to us during our event for our fraternity.
Shout out Beto.
That's what it was. Shout out Beto, Ohio State. Goal number 1, beat Michigan. Goal number 2, win the Big Ten. Goal number 3, compete for a national championship. We have not achieved goal 1 3 years and counting right now because we get bullied in the trenches. We get bullied in time of possession. Not even really like turnovers all that much. A couple here and there that didn't fall our way. Obviously, Michigan is like practically only runs the ball the last few years. But you look at both sides of the ball. You look at Fry on the offensive side. You look at Larry Johnson on the defensive side. We've been saying for years, we've said it in our group chats, that it's been said in public, Ohio State gets recruits. They get the number 1 receiver in the country, Jeremiah Smith. It looks great, obviously. I'm never going to trade that for anything. But they get recruits. They don't get football players. Michigan gets guys and develops them. They get offensive linemen and have them start for 100 games together and win a national championship. So to say that it's on those positional coaches is completely fair. But where does like setting the culture come from? Ryan Day, he's the QB guy. He's the offensive guy. And we've hit that for a large majority of his tenure there. But then you start playing with the big boys. He is 45-0 in unranked games. That's great to not have those losses. Although now you do get a little more leeway with it being set up the
Sure,
way
sure,
it
sure,
is.
sure, 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 sure.
Not that I want to lose those games, but yeah, he takes care of business in those games. But now with the money, with the guys returning, with the new faith in God that we have to, I hold us to a standard.
You're
And
right.
though I think we always come out flat, which is something I hate. That's something that gets me pissed off right away. It doesn't matter what
Come
happens
out
the rest of the
what?
game when we
Come out
start
what?
slow.
It kept
Flat.
opposite. Flat. Oh,
We
sorry.
come out flat. We are a slow start. Everyone says we're a second half team. We're a second half team. We're a second half
Yeah,
team.
we are.
I
It's so
I don't
annoying.
like that. It's so annoying. And the Bears are like that too, which I'll get to. But I hate that shit a lot. So it's time to play. It's really time to play. Oregon, not a weird game. We didn't have something go our way yet again. Wrong side yet again. Olave slips. Missed kick on New Year's. Wrong
Sure.
side yet again. One of these days will be our turn. Dear God, I hope so. But until he's going to do it, there's a tension on him. I think the defense stepped up huge. They showed heart when they could have bowed out on that goal line stand. If our offensive lineman didn't make a touchdown saving tackle, they wouldn't have even had a chance to do that. So again, it's a team sport all the way to the end. But we showed some more exotic blitz pressures this week. We got to the quarterback a couple times. We also gave up our most sacks of the year, 2 in a game. Not freaking out quite yet. 2 in a game. Most sacks in a year in a game so far. And didn't run the ball particularly well out of Judkins and Travion. So I think heading into a real, like, true Big Ten team like a Penn State, like a Michigan later in the year, the O-line is going to be cause for concern. It has been in years past, and now we're seeing the depth thing come up. So not to say the sky is falling. We still control our own destiny. But if you look at that game and see the way some of the offensive line played, and you think back to how we looked against Mizzou last year,
right,
the nerves start to trickle in. So big game for big noon kickoff. Penn State, Ohio State. Let's ride. Will Howard is juiced the fuck up, which I love. I think giving the team that bulletin board material is elite veteran play. Stoked to play. Let's go prove it this week. So I'm excited, but a little nervous when it comes to the season outlook.
I think you're absolutely right. I know everybody's been on basically pins and needles. I kind of asked you the question today, what would the outlook of the fan base be if we beat Oregon in that game and lost to Penn State? I think you probably are I think it's not as frantic, in my opinion. I think we said it about a month ago. Losing that first game in the mini gauntlet put the pressure on fast. Winning that game and beating Nebraska, and then potentially if we were to blow up in Penn State, like the opposite situation, I think the panic would have been heavy, but not as bad. I think it's like, well, we still beat Oregon. We own the head-to-head against Oregon. We still got Indiana, and we're almost through the season. You're controlling your destiny very early, and I think that was the problem our junior year when we lost to Oregon in the middle of the season, and we ended up losing. That was the first year, or I'm sorry, was that our junior year or senior? No, sorry, senior year. Our senior year.
My junior year.
Our senior year, we lost to Oregon. At home, and then we ended up losing. That was the first year we lost to Michigan in a row. That was the frantic issue. We lost early. We were backs against the wall. And we fought all the way till the Michigan game. Obviously, we know that lost. But I think to win this week, here's what my keys to the game are.
Yeah.
Continue the blitz packages. I really like the way the defense fought. I loved Jermaine Matthews getting in a little more. I liked him playing. Cody Simon, incredible. Keep playing that kid. Caden Curry, give him more snaps. Caden McDonald's, give him. We're at a point in time where you get 4. Back in the day, you couldn't play 1 snap. Now you get 4 games and you can still redshirt your season. Get the guys who are. Caden McDonald is so good in interior run game. He's just as good as Tyleek. He's just a little younger. Give him a chance. Give Cody Simon. He's wearing 0 for a reason. He showed it this weekend. The defense looked bad. I know it's Nebraska. I know it's not the top elite offenses, but the defense looked that they fought, and that's what Ryan Day said. He said, we're going to show them on defense. I've been working with them hard for the last 2 weeks. That goal line stand was incredible. Incredible by the defense, I thought. But on the offensive side of the ball, my keys to the game. Run the other way. Get in motion. Use the option. The mesh works well. I hate, and we've done this a couple times, which still makes no sense to me. We've got it. We failed once. We got it another time this past week. Stop taking 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 from the shotgun. You're a big fucking dude.
Yeah.
Will Howard. Chip Kelly, call the ball. Push twice. You're going to get the first down. It'll work. I promise. He's a big dude. Run the other way. Get the guys in motion. Get Jeremiah involved. Get Carnell involved. Get Emeka involved. The offense is not my concern. Get this offense. Help the O-line out. Help the O-line out is my
Yeah.
thing. Find a way to help the O-line out. I've been seeing some theories. A lot of people saying put the best 5 guys out there in the O-line. They're talking about maybe doing that this week, moving some
Yeah.
guys around, shifting Donovan to the left side. Find the best 5. Get the best 5 out there. They will do their job. They will protect Will Howard. Will Howard knows how to run. You're right. 2 sacks that was our most this year, which is 2 sacks. We're saying the world's on fire, but you're right. It was I think though the play calling, Chip needs to do a better job. He was going left too much. You want to go left, fine. Go sideways. Find a way to get them moving. Don't put them in a position where they can hold and we lose a yard. Don't put them in a position where they false start. Find ways to do it. It's a tough atmosphere. Chip is good enough. Get those guys in package. Use the Tressel package. Use 2 running backs. You do that, we're going to win this football game. Ryan Day, he can win this game. Will Howard, I love the chip he sent us from him. And fucking James Franklin. I don't know if you saw James Franklin today in his presser. He was like, Jack Sawyer, good player. JT Tuimoloau, he said JT Tuimoloau's name wrong. You know who JTT is. He fucking owned you 2 years ago. You know how to say his last name.
That's the only reason he's still here.
Put that puppy on in Woody Hayes the rest of the week. Get ready to play this game. Fight for your team. I think this team is going to be fine. I believe in this team. There's a reason this team is Ohio State. You come to Ohio State to play in these games. You don't come to play against Nebraska. And they're going to do it. They're going to show it. We're back on Saturday in Happy Valley. Show out. Take one on the road. Restore order. Restore order before the playoff rankings next Tuesday.
That's a really good way to put it. So unstoppable force, immovable object. Ryan Day versus top 5 teams. Always loses. Ohio State versus Penn State. So far, been good for us. Are there any other games from this week that you want to review before we look ahead?
Nothing too crazy. Texas escapes against Vanderbilt. Really hated ESPN's article. They said Quinn Ewers 3 touchdowns. Good win for Texas. They said Ohio State struggles. They look bad. SEC bias. I'm tired of it. And my other thing I wanted to say about college football, I understand the 12-team playoff gives more leeway. There's no more punishment for losing bad games. It's truly disgusting, in my opinion, that Notre Dame is ranked.
The AP poll sucks.
Notre Dame ranked in the top 10 is disgusting. You lost to Northern Illinois, who has a couple losses now at home. Disgusting. They shouldn't even be in the top 15 because of that loss. I really hope next Tuesday we're going to get our first college football ranking. I'm very curious to see how they rank the top 12. I'm very curious because I wonder if we win on Saturday, we obviously won't be in first place in the Big Ten. I really am curious if we're going to be 5. Like I wonder, because I don't know, are they going to rank us how it would be? I'm very interested to see if they're going to rank us 1 through 12, or if they're going to rank us how we would be as the season ended today. So very curious about that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So like, let's say we win, we should probably be in the top 3 realistically in the AP poll, stuff like that. But I'm very curious to see how the college football poll ranks on Tuesday, because Ohio State might be as high as 5, for example, because we can't be 1 or 2 because we're not leading their conference. Very curious.
I bet it's in the top 12, especially just this week before stuff really starts flushing out of who's going to be in those title games. I bet it's just a 12 list. I bet
you think. Okay.
That's what I think. I don't know. That'll actually be interesting. I hadn't thought of that yet, but
yeah. That will be
very interesting. Oh, that's when I thrive. When the college football rankings come out and I can see the rest of the season, who's going to play who's going to win, who's going to lose.
That's my
favorite time of year.
I will say if we get into a spot where we're the 5 seed and that's our spot come playoff time, 5 spot, if we're not the 1 or the 2, obviously you want to be with the bye. I think the bye is the most important. If we don't get the bye, that 5 is the most important spot in the nation, I think. You get the group of 5 winner and the worst conference champion, which right now is BYU. So I think that's the best route. If you don't get the 1 or 2, let's keep playing. I want the 1 or 2. I want the bye. Now, on to the NFL. Crazy weekend. Big weekend. Let's start with some highlights. One highlight before we get into negativity. Jameis Winston saved the Browns.
Jameis Winston saved the Browns.
Browns played their heart out for Jimmy Donovan, the broadcaster for the Browns. They won for him. It was an incredible game. Famous Amos, he fucking dominates. He was incredible. It was awesome to watch. He's such a entertainment value where he completes passes that you think they're going to get picked off. It's truly remarkable to watch him play. He's awesome. A win the Browns needed. The Browns needed that
badly.
The Haslams are criminals for forcing them to play Deshaun. Brutal for the Haslams, brutal for Browns fans. But they get Deshaun this year. They get Jameis this year. Jameis is going to play this year. It's going to be a fun rest of the year. Let's see what they're going to do. I know they're starting to get sick. Everyone believes they're going to be 6-6 by the time they play Kansas City in Week 14.
Jesus. Okay.
They're real sick in the head. But the Browns have some life. They're showing some heart. It was great to see. They played for Jim Donovan. I really enjoyed that. Jameis getting a chance again is really a highlight for me. I really enjoyed watching him. I think he's a great quarterback when he gets the chance. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the world. He's an all-time backup. He's entertaining. Browns were awesome. Happy for the Browns.
Yeah, that was awesome. He's a borderline starter. He's not my number one pick of who I would have to build my franchise
He's
around.
The 30 to 37 range. The 30 to 37 range.
Did you see the tweet where it's like everyone should sign Jameis, Flacco, Andy Dalton? The bullpen game would be awesome. But you can't deny that any team he's been on, pretty much any situation Jameis has ever been in, the first 4 letters of his last name does spell wins. I'm not sure if you knew that, but they love to play for him. I mean, the guys rally around him. It seems like he's just really like the best locker room guy. As far as intangibles go, you can't ask for anything better out of your quarterback. They were dead. Browns were dead. They were looking shades of the early 2000s when they were actually the laughingstock of the NFL. Since then, they've been to the playoffs. They've won a playoff game. And to take those steps back like they did is criminal. It's tone deaf. I mean, best injury ever, practically, for everyone involved, for the team, the fans, the coaches, the players, the ownership. Who knows what they do after this year and beyond? The contract is still a mess. It's still a problem that's going to be there after this season, but you got to win against Baltimore, against Lamar Jackson. Like, that's a big deal. Like, the season is back on. The season was dead. It was dead.
What's so tough to, I think, accept the negative of that and the devil's advocate of the excitement and the great win. What's so tough to me to imagine as a Browns fan would be Flacco was phenomenal in this offense.
Great.
Jameis was phenomenal so far through one game. It's tough for me to see that as a Browns fan. You understand the kind of quarterback Stefanski likes. You see the way they scheme. You see the way that kind of works. I think Ken Dorsey was calling plays for them this week, but it was truly remarkable to see that. The offense looks so much different. He doesn't look scared to throw the ball. He's not taking sacks. He doesn't care. He's ready to – he's a gunslinger. He wants to play the game. He's there to win. That's what I think is the toughest part for me as a Browns fan. You see Jameis succeed. You see Flacco succeed. It's criminal that we have to watch Deshaun play football. And you're right. He's going to be out for a year. Who knows when he comes back next year? The contract situation is hell. No one's going to trade for him. You're going to have to ride this out, which sucks. But again, I think the underlying unsung hero of the game, Wyatt Teller, O-lineman, came back from injury, laying pancakes, looked great, looked healthy. Chubb had like some good runs. Tillman open. He had a pretty good game. Browns, I know it doesn't sound exciting. They're 2-6. Why the hell are they talking about? Why are these two guys talking about the Browns are 2-6? That was a win the Browns needed. Great for our friends that are Browns fans. Excited to see that. Yeah. I think a lot of people were happy for the Browns. They won without Deshaun, which is very fair, but very big win. Good mindset. The winnable game is coming up. Winnable games for the Browns coming up. Very winnable. I think they can get back into it. Great.
Are you hoping? I think best case scenario, I don't know how you do this, but the NFL is king at sweeping things under the rug. But you, Ben Simmons, Deshaun Watson, you have this injury. Have complications. You never mention his name again in the building. You pay him. You pay him his shitty contract. You guys are a relatively, you're not a seriously contending team at that point for a couple of years until you can get that off the books. But if you can just hide him, and there's no reason to keep him on the field. Literally, the first opportunity that they got to not have Deshaun on the field, they looked outstanding. So how they maneuver this is going to be interesting to look at in the offseason, but great for the Browns.
Yep. 2 more years of him. I agree. Ben Simmons' contract, Albert Pujols' contract, whatever you want to call it, move on. Spread it out over 75 years like Shohei. Get him out of the building. Roll with the guys you got. Fix the O-line. That's the problem. The O-line is the problem, not the quarterback. Okay. I'll give you a little more time to really get your thoughts together. We'll start with the Cowboys.
Okay.
Cowboys, same thing. It's Groundhog Day again, especially in San Francisco. It's Groundhog Day. Another fake comeback. That's 2 this season. Truly incredible. How I actually think the Cowboys are the best team in NFL history with 8 minutes to go. Down 14.
Maybe. They might be.
If they started 14-0, I think they would be a much better team. So maybe it's something Mike McCarthy should consider. Just let's fumble the ball away, give him 14 points. We'll start him at 14-0. And just like Dak throws the football on the ground, lets them pick it up and run it in the end zone. Or just throw it right to somebody. Just give him 14 points. Cowboys, tale of 2 halves, in my opinion. First half, played hard, 10-6 at the half. A bad last drive. Dak, 2 bad picks. I
did see those, yes.
The first one was tough. He had Tolbert. He had Tolbert for a chance and gets hit while he throws it. Lollipopped, caught easy. Second
Yep.
one was super forced to CD. I said before the game to my dad that the worst part about the CD Dak issue right now is CD wants the ball more. Dak wants to get him the ball more, which means he forces the ball more, which means more interceptions happen. But that being said, they continue to show fight down 14 in the second half. The defense, what sucks is the defense I actually think didn't play awful at times. They made some key stops. They played great in the first half. They just got worn down. My problem with the Cowboys now are a couple issues. Donovan Wilson, the safety, is miserable to watch. He's lost all his juice. Anytime they play the Niners, he's on Kittle. Kittle owns him. It's disgusting to see. Truly embarrassing. Every time Kittle dominates. You think the run defense was better, I would say. I thought it was better at times. And the worst part about it is that they gave up 200 plus yards. 200 plus yards on the ground, and you think they did better. Brock Purdy with almost 60 rushing yards, which sucks. DeMarvion Overshawn, who I think is a very young stud for the Cowboys. He was spying, struggled at times, but showed up at times. And then that last drive, Overshawn sacks Purdy, and Purdy goes grips of steel, doesn't drop the football. I don't know if you ended up seeing that highlight. It was Aaron Rodgers flashback to Dak's rookie year where Jeff Heath sacks him and he somehow holds on to it. Very similar play, great grip strength. Just tough to watch. It's a fucking circus in Dallas, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, I agree.
You mentioned it earlier. You'd rather be the Bears than the Cowboys right now. 1,000%. 1,000% you'd rather be the Bears. The Cowboys, Jerry set this team up for failure, and they're failing. That's what happens.
I agree.
You don't have guys that separate well outside of CD. That's the worst part. So you're forcing CD. I think he had 11 or 13 catches, something like that. I know he had like 17
he had
targets.
A lot.
He had a great game. He had arguably his best game. That's one of those games where they connect. That's what happened last year. They connected and got really hot for about 7-8 weeks. I don't know where this team goes. I don't think they're good enough to win the division. But I don't think they're a bottom 5 team in the NFL. Kind of
No way.
Stuck in purgatory.
It's the worst spot to be in. It's worse than the Bears were for a long while because the Bears were always 8-8, 7-9, somewhere right around there, and they were right in the middle of the pack. They were incompetent. They would have a great defense, which I know we'll get into the Bears, but their Cowboys are still probably like a top 12 team, top 15 team. They're still potentially a playoff team with how the NFC East is shaken out. But where do you go from here? I know there's a lot of injuries, so you really can't. And Jerry's excuse could be you can't really take a look at this roster with how many injuries there have been, which I think that's nothing more than an excuse, but that's probably what he can say. You mishandled the contract negotiations for Dak. You could have gotten him at significantly
52.
cheaper than you did, 52, something like that. Kind of same with CD almost. So I think you're exactly right. It is a circus. I don't know what you do. You can't make any moves at the deadline to win now, especially with how banged up the team is. Right. And you're in contract hell. I think Dak is still a top 8 to 10, 6 to 12 quarterback in football at any given week, and CeeDee Lamb is a top 5 receiver in football at any given week. So you have pieces to do it. My conundrum with the Cowboys this entire time has been you have a lot of the similar people you have last year, and you had a ton of success. I know they're now injured, but would they go like 12-4 a couple of years ago?
They've been 12. They're 12, so they went 12-5 the last 3 years. 36 regular season wins over the last 3 years. Every team in NFL history that's had 36 wins over a 3-year span has at least been to or won a Super Bowl in that tenure.
That's crazy.
Cowboys are the first team in NFL history to never even get to a Super Bowl in that tenure. You're absolutely right. The worst thing about it is in the beginning of the year, Jerry kept saying, well, we got young guys. We don't need to sign guys. We got guys that are good. We got kids that play. Then why didn't we see them last year? Why weren't we seeing those young guys last year? Other than Overshawn, who was hurt, obviously, who had an ACL tear last year. This is his first year. He's a second-year player, but technically a rookie based on playing time. Why didn't we see those guys? Why didn't we see those guys then? If they were so good then and we're hiding them, why weren't we seeing them? Is your goal to protect guys, to give them it's not a quarterback situation where Jordan Love or Aaron, the situation where someone's sitting to learn. It's not Patrick Mahomes sitting for a year. It's get these guys out there, let's learn. Mozzie Smith, our first round pick from last year, he's worthless. Ranked 119th out of 119 in PFF grading for interior D linemen. Really sad. The worst part about it But for the Cowboys, what sucks is I do believe that the run game is a big issue for them on defense, and they need a good D lineman. But the worst thing about it is Mason Graham from Michigan is probably the best D lineman in the nation. And the last two Michigan D linemen the Cowboys have taken were Mozzie Smith, who stunk, and Taco Charlton, 4 picks before TJ Watt. So
wow.
also Michigan. So it's like a curse there. The thing with this team is, for some reason, there's so I mentioned a couple weeks ago. I think it was my clutch moment of the week for the NBA, the phone rule. Yesterday, the game ends. It's been less than 15 minutes, and Trayvon Diggs is arguing with a reporter because a reporter called him out for one play. I don't know if you saw that video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's yelling at the reporter. Yeah, he said these nuts. He dropped the these nuts on him. But to do that 15 minutes after the game, that's what you're doing after the game, rushing to your phone to see who said something bad about you. And I'm not saying even Diggs had that bad of a game. I don't think he did. They run the ball. He's playing in man. He's playing in coverage. He's not guarding Kittle, really. And it's not like the receiver is dominated, That's an issue. That's an issue. The mentality of those guys, that's an issue. That it's one thing to and I say it every week, and I know Dak is not playing his best football. I defend him all the time. I understand, but I'm not an idiot to say Dak's not playing good football right now. He's 8 picks right now. He had 9 last season. It's almost like that season he had 15. That's what he looks like right now, and it's very rare for him. He's up there in like the top 10, I think, in the NFL history of interception percentage, which is crazy to say. People don't believe that, but it's a true stat. Mm-hmm. What sucks is, like, you talk about mentality with Judge. Dak's mentality is so incredible. I say it every week.
It's great.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's truly remarkable. I don't know if he is a puppet for Jerry or how he does it, but he stays so focused, and he focused on such a big goal. And I get it. Dak's been through a lot of hardships outside of the football field that has turned him into the man he's become. But it's truly remarkable to me to see him continue. Don't jump off. We're figuring it out. We're gonna get it ready. That's a quarterback. That's a leader, not Aaron Rodgers.
I love that.
Pointing out certain things, or I've been in the darkness, it's bad, we can get out, or the way Aaron Rodgers talks, like I'm going to go trade for my best friend to figure out something wrong, where that's not even the problem with my team. Dak's my talent. That's why I get upset when people bash Dak. That's why I defend Dak, is because I know he's that kind of quarterback. I know he has it in him. He leads by example. He picks happen. That's the worst part. Picks happen. That's football.
Yeah, you get hit when you throw for sure.
Patrick Mahomes has 8 picks. It doesn't matter. They're 7-0. The defense is helping him out. That's the difference between good teams and great teams. When a quarterback messes up, the defense picks him up. That Kansas City defense is so freaking good. It doesn't matter how many picks Mahomes throws. That's the problem. So I don't know where this team goes. I don't know what they do. I think they're a good team. I think they have a chance to potentially do it. We'll see. They're still in that stretch where it's going to get tough. They got Atlanta. They got Houston, or they got Atlanta, Philly, Houston, and Washington coming up. 4 big games. We said it before. If they can get to 6-6, 7-5, there's life. 6-6, 7-5, there's life. The back half of the schedule isn't great. You have Carolina, you have a beat up Tampa Bay. There's life there. There's something you can fight for, but you got to get there. Something's got to change, whether it's Micah coming back or Bland coming back or Nealon coming back. Team has to fight, and I know it's in there. It's been a circus in this. No Derrick Henry. Why didn't you get him? We couldn't afford him. You're paying Trey Lance $5 million. So many small problems. Circus. But I still believe in Dak. I don't know if it's going to be a Super Bowl this year. I'm probably going to say they're out on a Super Bowl this year, obviously.
Fair enough.
But I'm not jumping off of Dak's ship. I do believe in him. I think he's a great leader. That's the worst part, is he is a great leader. Everyone wants to bash him because they think he's Dak Prescott and he's the Cowboys. People hate the Cowboys. Everybody who hates the Cowboys on Twitter weren't even alive to hate the Cowboys. It's just cool to hate the Cowboys. Stephen A. told them to hate the Cowboys. The Cowboys have never been relevant in the last 30 years to really hate them. The Cowboys get more hate than the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are dominant.
Was it Scott Van Pelt who said, I don't know if it was this week or a couple weeks ago, that the script is always the same in the NFL every single year? They prop up the Cowboys and prop up Dak Prescott.
And no one's propping it up except for these media guys. They say, like, how about him? How about their fans? The real fans, like, no, they're not saying that. It's those half-ass fast fans that we've talked about that pretend to know the team, but they don't. Those are the fans that think it's the year, not the real fans.
People that have Yankees and Dodgers hats too.
Yes.
Those are the fans who are saying this is the year.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's my takeaway on the Cowboys. I hope they can win a couple more games, but we'll see. Wrap up in NFL before we get to clutch moment of the week. Let's do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Bears Commanders, number 1 versus number 2. A wild ending. Hail Mary to win it. shout out Noah Brown, Buckeye, winning touchdown. How are the vibes thoughts after the game, looking ahead to next week? I just want to, just want to mention real quickly, awful preparation by all three of our teams for the bye week. Ohio State,
horrible,
Cowboys, and Bears. Horrible.
It makes me so that part makes me so mad. And I said it last week or a couple weeks ago when we were playing the Jaguars in London. The Jaguars were a talented team. The Bears are a relatively talented, relatively young team. A bad team makes it close against the Jaguars, loses to the Jaguars. They're obviously kind of a clown show too, but in recent history, the Bears have been a clown show. They have lost games they should win. They have not been a well-run organization in a number of different ways. That's the metric that I've been kind of looking at, because I said it. I didn't fully believe in Eberflus. I think it was questionable bringing him back. He's still on pace and still has one of the worst head coaching records in the history of the NFL. He has lost 4 games when having over a 95% chance to win while in the fourth quarter.
I saw those screenshots today were horrible.
Oh, I laughed when that Hail Mary got caught. I laughed because it was just so typical. When you see him, Jayden Daniels ran across the field. He runs back across the field. I'm like, all right, like this is tough. This is tough. So it happened, and we'll get into it here. The offense looked like shit. Caleb looked nervous. The play calling was dog shit. I blame the coaching staff infinitely more than I blame any single play or player than that happened in this game. That includes Tyreek Stevenson on the Hail Mary, which I will get to. Caleb looked scared. He was big for the moment. It's his homecoming. It's not just a game against Jayden Daniels. He was from Washington. There was talk about him denying to go to Chicago to go play for Washington. So there's a lot of emotions. These are 2 young kids, and you could tell that the Bears offense was way more nervous than the Commanders offense. They looked decisive. They looked easy. They got down the field, and the Bears defense is damn good too. You cannot blame them at all whatsoever. Hail Marys happen. They had held them to pretty much only field goals until then. That was the only time they got in the end zone was the Hail Mary.
12 points.
12 points. Bend don't break was the name of the game. I'm not going to say I loved watching them march down the field every time, but it was a sigh of relief to get to hold them to a field goal every time, because they did march down the field practically every single time they held the ball. They were able to kind of get what they wanted on offense. Jayden Daniels was able to scramble way more than I thought he was going to. We had some injuries in the secondary with Brisker and Gordon being out, both great blitzers and great tacklers. So that was impactful, but Jayden Daniels was able to pick up some massive first downs with his legs, which wasn't great, but you still can't blame the defense. 12 points, you should win that football game. Play calling, bad. Bad. There are a few specifically that I want to talk about. There was a 4th and 1 on our own 40-yard line. It was a go for it. It was tough. It was time to really step on it. I liked the call to go for it. What ended up looking like it happening was a sort of like an RPO throw out to DJ Moore. He ends up throwing it out to DJ Moore, who's one-on-one with no blocking. Another guy misses a block. A guy from the inside is able to tackle him. He doesn't get the first down. It looked bad. I haven't really looked at the film. I found a couple of YouTubers, like the QB school guy is really big on Caleb, so I'll look at it.
Or the extra lineman, whoever it was in that play, lost their block immediately. Lost their block. That's why, because he kind of had a chance to break that one-on-one.
He had a chance on the one guy. The second guy got him. The read on that, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. They showed like a zoomed out version. The corner that was over DJ Moore was really far off the line of scrimmage. In that situation, you can throw that football. He crept up pretty much as the ball was snapped, giving him a way better opportunity at it. But still, you've been running the ball pretty well. You're the Bears. You're kind of building your identity off of running the ball and playing defense. You try and get fancy on 4th and 1 and end up looking like that. It's a really bad morale play. Then we get to Doug Kramer. I'm not sure if you knew this. I'm not sure or even before Doug Kramer, I don't know if this was the same driver or a different driver they got down to the red zone. Shane Waldron, he's like this all year. It was first down in the red zone, like really close, like inside the 5, inside the 10 perhaps, like pretty low down there. He loves the goal line fade. I fucking hate the goal line fade. That is one of the most antiquated plays in football. I went down like a deep stats rabbit hole going into this year. The only person who was ever able to actually have success with it was Calvin Johnson. He was pretty fucking built for the goal line fade with how big he is. To do that, we caught one of them against the Jaguars. It was like a really extended one. Keenan Allen made a great grab with it. It's an inefficient play. It's an antiquated play. That was ugly.
It's tough from inside the 5, especially.
for sure.
It's
And
better set up from the 7 to the 12, probably.
1,000,000%. So that happened. You practically burn a play. You basically burn a play for something that's well under a 50% chance success rate. Then you get to Doug Kramer. He has been the guy that has played that kind of like Lions position where 68 is reported as eligible for this play. Everyone's looking for it. Matt Nagy had a play with a lineman, the refrigerator play. The Bears were cooking. It was great. We ran that play. We were up a score or two. We didn't do it to try and take the lead in the biggest game of the season. I have so many problems with that play call. It's not even funny. There are guys you pay millions and millions and millions of dollars to receive handoffs and carry the football. You have DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson, Khalil Herbert. You had a fullback on the fucking roster before last week. You have Cole Kmet. You have Gerald Everett. You have a lot of guys that can be taking the ball and you give it to your fucking backup center. That's tone deaf. That's brutal. That's fucking miserable. That's not winning football. That's a Disney movie. And I hated that so much. It was hilarious when that happened. He was down. Like, I know he tried to like run it out. That it was going to be something crazy. Like that was whatever. That was asinine. That was a game-winning drive. The offense had been really bad up until that point. You get down to literally the 1-inch line to try and get the game. You miss it there. You get the ball back. The defense looks good. You force another field goal or another punter, whatever even happened there. Right. Tyreek Stevenson, I think it was on the second to last drive. He has an unsportsmanlike penalty. Let's get into Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson so far has been one of the best man coverage cornerbacks in the league since he has been drafted. He is a second-year player. He is part of the Carolina trade. He has been fantastic. He has been emotional and full of these antics the entire time. He has gotten a lot of unsportsmanlike penalties. He has been an idiot. He is a young kid, but you cannot deny the talent that he has. He is a great player. He loves to talk shit. He loves to tackle. He is very fantastic. The antics, they went a little far. There's a problem here. Penalties like that cannot happen. They piss me off. Like unsportsmanlike can never happen. Talk shit. Like maybe you cross the line every once in a while, but he's getting on the list of getting too many penalties. So
absolutely,
though he is very promising, we'll get to the Hail Mary. This is why I'm not blaming Kyler Gordon. Matt Eberflus is a defensive head coach. There's 12 seconds left, and you have all 3 timeouts. It's the play before the Hail Mary. They cut to Caleb Williams. The rest of the defense is set up on the 20-yard line. Caleb Williams is seemingly telling the guys to come in. As a quarterback, you kind of know what's going on. At this point, they're on practically their own 20-yard line. And the defense, who is the head coach, is a defensive mind who has called a very good defense up until this point. He gives up a free 15 yards. In fact, the receiver who caught the ball could have probably ran for 10 yards further if he wanted to. So I think that is really the more impactful play. And for Eberflus to come out today and double down and say that play didn't matter, it was going to come down to the final play anyways, is extremely tough and just shows that he has no idea what he's doing when it comes to winning a football game. If you maybe they do catch it out, maybe they do get those yards, but if you make it tough for them and they don't catch that 15-yard out or 13-yard out or whatever it was, you don't have a Hail Mary. You're running those crazy trick fumble Ruski plays. Like, yeah, it's down to the final play, Matt Eberflus, but not in the way that it ended up shaking out to be. So I think that is just showing that you don't know how to win football games. Like, yeah, you can get a defense going, like you can do some things right, but when it just comes to like understanding the moment, Matt Eberflus misses it time and time again. And I'm so tired of it. I didn't believe in him. Shane Waldron, he took steps back. We looked like the first few weeks, and that was bad. Caleb looked nervous. The offense didn't have a lot going. We just weren't able to get anything easy. We ended up getting it going a little bit. The fourth quarter, the offense showed up and did what they needed to do to put us in a position to win, and coaching took us out again. It's hard for a rookie quarterback to not only play against the defense that he's playing, but to play against his own coaching staff. And that is the case of Caleb Williams and a number of Bears quarterbacks before him. Loser organizations are going to continue to do loser things. And the reason I don't have a problem with Tyreek Stevenson taunting the fans on the Hail Mary, it's bad. It's a horrible look. As the situation goes, it's horrible. It comes out that the scheme is literally for him to be covering a guy who ends up with the ball. Hail Marys happen. The ball was short of the goal line.
Yep.
Gets tipped up by Tyreek Stevenson. It's a lucky play. Shit's going to happen. He needs to be better. We'll see what the disciplinary action is there. But for him to be allowed, like he's had, who he is. It's his second year here. For Eberflus not to be able to have that under control, not to call the timeout in that moment, to be like, okay, guys, it's literally the final play. You have 3 timeouts. What's the point in burning one?
Can't take him home with you.
Can't take him home with you. I think that's just another example of why this coaching staff doesn't get it, why the Bears don't get it. More pre-snap penalties. We looked like absolute dog shit in the first quarter. We've been a slow starting team for all of this year and most of my life. This coaching staff clearly doesn't get how to win games. The offense is clearly talented. Fix the offensive line, and we're in a way better spot, but it's hard to play against the defense and your coaching staff. My question to you, before we analyze it, Tyreek Stevenson's antics throughout the game, unsportsmanlike penalty, chirping the fans before the Hail Mary. How do you handle it from a disciplinary standpoint?
Like from a coaching perspective?
Coaching, I know DJ Moore said the captains are going to be very impactful on what the disciplinary action is. They're going to have a conversation with him. He did tweet to apologize. His tweet was clean. It was a good tweet. It wasn't like he wasn't talking shit. He was like, on me. I love accountability. How do you handle it from a disciplinary action?
Yeah, I mean, that's a culture issue, I think, in my opinion, which is unfortunately the unfortunate truth. It sucks to say, like in the grand scheme of things, in my opinion, but Hail Mary percentage is so low. It is
so low.
We all know that, but it's one thing to had happened and it's a weird play, whatever. But taunting the fans, the worst part, in my opinion, about that whole taunting isn't him taunting the fans, isn't him pointing at the sideline. The worst part of the whole play is the Bears fans that have paid their hard-earned money in that first row that are pointing, look, please pay attention. Look, turn around.
One more play, 5 more seconds, yeah.
You got to do that. I think the captains have to come out and be like, look, bro, like, that was a selfish play. It kind of similar to the Treylon Diggs situation of the culture. It's me, not us. I understand that's what comes with being a quarterback or a cornerback or a wide receiver. So you're going to get the taunting. You're going to get the shit talking. That's the sport they play. That's the world we live in the NFL. But he was the guy, and I won't understand why he didn't smack it down versus hitting it up. I don't understand that. The thing about that is, even if you smack it down and someone catches it, the ball is short. Everyone's there. You're probably stopping him at the 1, so it doesn't matter. It was truly remarkable to see that. I don't remember seeing anything like that, celebrating that early. It's one thing to be celebrating as a fan, and that kind of happens. You're like, oh, fuck. Like, I can't believe I celebrated early. Like, there's a picture of the Cowboys. It's an old Snapchat meme, if you don't remember. It's Cowboys-Packers when they're like, Cowboys go nuts, and they're like, a Packers fan's like, they don't know he has this much time left, and they end up winning that game. It's one thing to do it as a fan. It is. But to be the player, to be one of the better players as well, is so tough. It's so embarrassing. You play till 4 zeros on the clock. And again, Eberflus, you got to call a timeout there. Think about it. Make them think about it for anything. Make them figure out, should we do this? Should we huck it up? Should we run a fumble rooski? Should we do one of those plays? Make them think about it. It's if you're not, icing kickers has slowly been worked out of the game. The kickers have been too good. That's why I think it's moved out of the game. But make someone else think about it. Make Dan Quinn think about it. Make Jaden Daniels think about it. I think it's just a tough look from the defense. My takeaways from the game, unfortunately, are a couple things. I think that, I don't think Jaden Daniels played that great of a game. I don't think their offense was that good. You're right. They did drive down the field a lot, but it ended with 3. They were bend, don't break. I don't think Jaden Daniels had a good game. I think that was arguably the best game Washington played on defense the entire season.
They were juiced up. The environment was great. Yeah, they played fantastic.
I think it was a defense. I think Jaden Daniels is going to get a lot of love. Jaden Daniels didn't play well. He made a couple big throws. That was it. My opinion, didn't play. A few big
first downs with his legs, I do think. But
didn't play that great. I don't think he was that amazing. If that touchdown is incomplete, he goes no touchdowns, 200 yards, couple rushing yards. Not an impressive game. I thought neither quarterback played outstanding. My other takeaway from it, I texted you after the game, or maybe it was today, and kind of similar to the Ohio State failed. I said failed was a strong word. I said it originally. I said, was the Rome Odunze pick in the draft an awful pick? And I think you said it to me this time. Awful is a bad word to use. And I said,
Awful's
you're right.
Bad word, yeah.
Awful is not the bad word I want to use. It's more so the O-line was so bad. Did we really need Rome? Was basically my point. Not so much is Rome not good. I think Rome has played great in his limited role as
Yeah.
the 3. He'll grow as the 2, potentially one day as a 1. I think Rome is going to be great in Chicago. There's no doubt about that. My reason of saying it was an awful pick was because the need wasn't another wide receiver. The need wasn't a weapon. You had signed DeAndre Swift at this time. You had traded for Keenan Allen at this time. At this point in time, that was the issue. I said that's why you didn't need to draft Rome Odunze. You needed the O-lineman. That's where it helps. I understand Latham and Alt went before, and you kind of had the Fashanu, Fatnu, those guys that had an option, but that was my issue. I think the Bears, it's a brutal loss. Brutal loss. That being said, you said it. I believe it as well. I don't think the Bears were good enough to win this game. I don't think they deserved to win this game, but
did not.
Unfortunately, deserved is not a word that's used in the NFL. It doesn't matter who deserves it or not. You got to win in the NFL. And I think they were there to win the NFL. The handoff was bad. Awful play call with the backup center. I still think the Bears are going to be okay. But you've been saying it for weeks now. We're now, I think, what are you, 4-3? What are you now, 4-3?
5-3.
Okay, 5-3. The worst part about that now is these are the games you got to win because that division isn't getting any easier. And those divisional games are coming up faster than we think. So that's the unfortunate truth about it, is these are the games you got to win before you start week 11 and you go into divisional hell. 2 against the Vikings, 2 against the Lions, 2 against the Packers. These are the games you got to win because you're not going to go 6-0 in those games. You might. I guess there's a chance.
You don't want to bank on it.
Yeah, but you don't want to bank on it. You don't want to bank on it. Very rarely does a team go undefeated in the division. Very, very rarely.
Yep.
So, got to win these games. I feel for Caleb. He really wanted that. I think he played very, very well in that last quarter. I didn't think he played well at all for the first 3, but I thought he really showed the grit. Eberflus, I agree, lost the game. Waldron should have been left in Washington. Those are my final takeaways.
Yeah, it's brutal. I think my take was I was genuinely not upset until I just stewed on it all day today.
Yeah.
This was I would rather have this happen now than against Green Bay. When I'm there,
sure.
2 on a bigger stage in a divisional game. Unfortunately, I kind of did this after I think it was the Houston game where Caleb had a really bad showing, and I don't want to do it now, but I don't think a rookie quarterback has ever won the Super Bowl. So the fact that we were getting crowned as Super Bowl appearances going into this season, and we seem to have a defense that could have supported that argument, it was crazy. It has never happened before. Caleb Williams looks good. He looks like everything we've wanted him to be. But I kind of want to take a second, take a deep breath, and look out further outside this first year. Eberflus has done a lot of fucked up things in terms of coaching. Like he truly, I don't think he has a reason to have a job today or tomorrow. Unfortunately, the Bears have never fired a coach mid-season, so I doubt that happens. I had a dream today where the Giants fire Dable, we fire Waldron, and Brian Dable becomes the offensive coordinator for the Bears, or potentially the head coach of the Bears. I think that timing could line up nicely. I wanted him in that initial go-around, but it's tough. We're still losers. It still goes to show you that it starts from the top. This organization has struggled to win in a lot of big moments. The screenshots around the game today were crazy. Packers final seconds, double doink, this shit, a Hail Mary we caught in the last couple of years that we ended up down at the 1. So we know how to lose. And we confirmed this weekend that we haven't changed, that we know how to lose pretty damn well. So Eberflus is not the guy. I think we knew this coming into this season, but I don't think there's any argument to support otherwise. The defense is great. I think it's the players. The leadership by the players has been very important this year. I think you can plug another guy in there and still retain a lot of what you have.
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but this is the last thing I'll say about this game. I saw it today. I could be wrong. I did see a tweet about it kind of in passing today.
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't Montez Sweat and Austin Booker on the field in that Hail Mary?
Oh my God, fucking crazy. I have no idea. And the QB spy was even worse. We've seen like some messed up Hail Mary defenses in the last couple of years. There was the infamous cover 0 blitz. I think it was like the Jets or the Raiders 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
It wasn't quite that bad, but there's no point in rushing 1. There's no point in rushing 2 that you see teams do sometimes. We had 3 guys down and rushing. Most important play of the game, 2 of your best pass rushers aren't on the field. Don't get it. And then you add in the TJ Edwards QB spy. I know Jaden Daniels had been dangerous with his legs so far, but you think he's going to rip off a 52-yard run when 6 of your other guys are right on the goal line? It was who coached that defensive coordinator, Eberflus. I have a tendency to blame Eberflus as he's been super involved with the defense so far. There's no further reason to keep him around. There's just so many things there, and it's not huge things. It's not like they
But
are
the
huge
small
things. I don't even
things,
want to say
it's
it,
a game of inches, and
they
you
look
can't
huge.
win those small ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I like you said, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I think we're bad, but the season's not over. We'll see what happens.
Don't sell your Caleb stock is my other take.
1,000,000%.
Before Outside the Line, we're doing a quick ad read and our clutch moment of the week. Our clutch moment of the week is brought to you by Shore Metals, serving Southern California since 1970. Big enough to serve you and small enough to know you. See Stan, he'll help you out. Joey, who's your clutch moment of the week?
Mine goes out to Jack Tuttle, former Division I quarterback for the University of Michigan. One positive thing through this just absolutely mind-boggling college football season is the fact that Michigan sucks. We knew they sucked. I knew they cheated and sucked. They've been having a quarterback problem between Orji, Tuttle, and I can't even remember the third guy. They are just an absolute hellhole over in that quarterback room. Jack Tuttle, 7th year at Michigan, decided to retire after finally getting benched this week for the Wolverines. So absolutely hilarious. They are a mess over there. Sharon Moore, you suck. I hate them, and I love watching them fail. And one of their players was so bad was forced into retirement. So that's hilarious. Clutch moment of the week, another Michigan out of our way.
See ya. Can't wait for November. I fucking hope we kill them. We got to beat them this year. I can't wait. Davis Warren. They talk about a team who uses a bullpen. The last game, I don't know if you looked, they had a bullpen game. Donovan Edwards had a touchdown pass. Orji had a pass. Davis Warren had a pass. Bullpen offense. My clutch moment of the week, really random, some people are going to think, goes out to the Pelicans versus Trailblazers game this past weekend. The NBA is back.
Yeah.
2 average at best teams, not good teams. Why the hell is that your clutch moment of the week, Michael? I'll tell you why, guys. Brandon Ingram, ex-Lakers, shout out Brandon Ingram, hits the game-winning shot over Anthony Simons. Now you're thinking to yourself, a game-winning shot, that's it? That's your clutch moment of the week? No, not just that. This league, Brandon Ingram hits a game-winning shot over Anthony Simons, who, come to find out, both of them have a kid with the same baby mama, and that's going down. Baby daddy over baby daddy in the NBA. This league, clutch moment of the week, Brandon Ingram.
Did you see afterwards, like Ingram's boys were hyping him up? He was like, tell her who's better. Tell her who's better. It was the NBA. We're 4 games into the season. The Bulls suck. I've already counted out the Bulls. I just like
Season's
watching
over.
Good games. Season's over. Tank for Cooper Flag, but it's the most entertaining league. Focusing on just the narrative. I love yapping about ball. I don't know ball like that. I'm quite bad at basketball, but the narratives are the funniest thing ever. So clutch moment of the week, the NBA Entertainment League.
NBA Entertainment League, National Basketball Entertainment, Brandon Ingram, and Jack Tuttle retiring. Now to Outside the Line.
Wrapping it up with Outside the Line, starting off with our tone-deaf person of the week. Michael, start us off. Who do you got?
We're getting close. The political season is at its peak right now. We have a big election coming up next week. My tone-deaf person of the week is political commercials that I have to see during every sports break, and AOC and Tim Walz. Yeah. If anybody's unaware of this, AOC and Tim Walz on Sunday afternoonish, went on Twitch live, streamed Madden. They live streamed Madden on Twitch, AOC versus Tim Walz. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with this. They were going to talk policies and play Madden. If you're trying to get the demographic of Twitch Madden players, I would definitely say in the middle of NFL Sunday is not the ideal time to get. Yeah, my personal opinion, not the ideal time to get your voters to come out for you. I saw some great memes. Tim Walz called pick 6. AOC ran a pick 6 play, and it got memed with the 3 glasses from Inglourious Bastards, the movie, because that gave it away. And political commercials. Every freaking time I watch any TV, it doesn't even have to be sports. I'm hearing that Tran is going to steal your guns and they're going to take away abortion, or this person hates abortion. I mean, it's truly remarkable. I mean, this election season needs that. And
It's horrible.
I hate to tell the fans, I know everyone's sad that it's only 2024 and not 2036, and we're not able to be running our platform yet. I know
I know
fans
we're gonna be
are
so
worried,
good.
but yeah, I can't wait for the political season to be over. I'm over it. Tone deaf, there's one thing to say: people who like sports and dedicate their whole life to sports are tone deaf, and they're just as bad as political people. Guess what? Here's the truth. I'm not trying to convince anyone to be a Cowboys or Buckeye fan. I'm not going out of my way. I'm not hating people because they don't like them. My whole life doesn't depend on it. My team does. My life does depend on the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
But I'm not going door to door to saying, are you or a loved one hurt by bad playoff losses? You should also join the Cowboys fan. No one's doing that. No one's doing that for the Cowboys, the Bears. No one's begging people to join their team. It's annoying. Can't wait for it to be over. Get the selection season over. Let's move on.
It's crazy. The political ads, we promise. I'm sorry, I'm running this campaign promise without your approval, but
That's okay.
at least our commercials will be funny, and they will also be in the form of short gifs or vines. It'll be much more
Quick,
digestible for the average voter. Much more digestible for the average brain rot voter. But question for you. We talked a couple weeks ago about how everything they do is staged. Tim Waltz was a high school or college football coach.
Yes, high school football
for a brief amount of time. I believe that he has probably picked up a gaming console controller and maybe played a game of Madden once or twice. I believe that is possible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that the two of them were playing like your little brother with the controller unplugged and someone was playing it from behind the scenes? I didn't watch it, but there's no way.
I saw that picture of the remote that the controller wasn't on.
Perhaps, do you think AOC was calling audibles and calling fades when she saw press man? I don't think so.
That's a good point. Maybe it was like one of those YouTube videos of someone else playing Madden and they were just pretending like
it was like the Subway Surfer videos, man.
Yeah,
it was.
I'm definitely going to second your promise. When we have our political ads, it's going to be just like how we record. Half of the screen is going to be us telling you our policies, and the other half is going to be Subway Surfers, so you can watch everybody run while we're telling you about our policies. So, yeah, that's a great spin zone. I didn't really think of the fake playing the stage. That's a funny point. But, yeah, that's my tone deaf person of the week, the political ads. How about you?
My tone deaf person of the week, it goes out to Bert Kreischer. And Bert Kreischer, big fat comedian, funny guy, takes his shirt off. I like Bert Kreischer. A lot of people got tired of him, said he was dumb, all his jokes aren't funny, you laugh at him, you don't laugh with him. And I was like, no, like he has his niche as being the dumb guy, but I still respect his game. The machine story is one of the best jokes, one of the best stories you could have ever heard about Bert's time in Russia. But he's a big drinker. He has some big speeches about how fun drinking is and how life should be about drinking. And he loves watching a sunset with a cocktail in his hand. He loves waking up with a mimosa. It was great to play for your college fraternities. But he came out on his podcast with Tom Segura, Two Bears, One Cave, and went on like this really like dialed in on this tirade that if you want to quit drinking and you're sitting there hungover about thinking about how much drinking has fucked up your life, don't quit drinking. You're not the problem. Or drinking isn't the problem. You're the problem. And I think even like Joe Rogan kind of swore him off that he's just like kind of like a loser slob piece of shit. And I was like, okay, like Bert's still funny, whatever. But he's taken it to a point where I think is like unhealthy and just like plain stupid. Like I get like clickbait and whatever, and maybe I'm just a victim of the clickbait thing here.
Sure.
But he like there are people that he was like denying the fact like sobriety could be a positive thing. And not that I'm about to go sober, though I did have a hellish weekend of drinking. I think that's so tone deaf. Like I think that's so dumb. Like he's got to get it together. Like he drinks more than like potentially any person like ever, it seems like.
Yeah.
And like it's borderline like crazy behavior. Like people have been like, Bert, do you have a problem? And he's like, no. Like he figures it out. Like he's very open about how he drinks a fuck ton. And I just think that was like borderline like a red flag comment by him. So I thought that was super tone deaf and super dumb by Bert Kreischer.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. I do like Bert and some of his stand up, but you're right. He's kind of soured quickly and very fast for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I agree. Like it's actually a real issue too. Like don't be a jackass. Like understand that there's a problem with some people. Like, yeah, very tone deaf. I agree. Wrapping up now, wrong and right side. What do you got before we kick it to the fans? Everybody goes, Happy Halloween.
Right side, I'm gonna go first. I'm not right. Actually, I am right about sports a lot, but usually my rightness means my team losing, which is always
Mm.
very sad. I hate being right. Knowledge is a burden. I've said that a
Yes,
number
it
of times.
is. It
I
is.
hate knowing ball. But one thing that I love is being right about things that don't make me sad. One of those things is Kyle McCord. He threw 5 interceptions against, was it Pitt? It doesn't even fucking
Yeah.
matter who
Pitt.
it was.
Pitt.
It was Pitt. He threw 5 interceptions in the same game. People were saying he's a dark
Three.
horse to three
Three
pick
picks.
sixes. 3 pick sixes, 5 interceptions in a single game. He joins company of Nathan Peterman and who the fuck knows who else, because all those people are fucking garbage. We knew he was bad. The reason he left is because he wanted Ryan Day to promise him a starting spot and give him more money. He was bad. We knew he was bad. To do that in the ACC is fucking laughable, and I love it. I was dying when I was watching it. It made me so happy. I hate Kyle McCord. He's so bad. That was so right side. What did you have?
Spin zone. Ryan Day, genius, winning 11 games with him.
Winning 11 games with him earns him another year. You're good for the year, Mr. Day.
For me, right side, big day tomorrow. By the time this comes out, we'll have a pretty good knowledge of it. Meg gonna get some interviews for
Hell
residency
yeah.
programs. Gonna be a good day, big day. I know she's nervous, but she's been kicking ass, dominating for 4 years. Very excited about that. Gonna find out some new cities, potential life cities, big movements. It's gonna be a great day. So I know she sometimes listens to this, but right side, definitely going out to Meg. I'm very excited for her, very proud of her. I love seeing her grow, and I can't wait for this to happen. She's been working her ass off for the last 4 years of med school, and long before I even knew her to get to this point. So shout out to Meg. That's my wrong side. Lucky guy, get to be by her side. So that's my right side for this week.
Right side. Great. Congrats, Meg. Med school, no easy task. So time to take some official visits to some of these new
Yeah,
cities.
definitely. Who will be on the table? Who will be on the
Who
table?
will be on the table? You're gonna do the whole hat thing. It's gonna be amazing. But a big day in the life of Meg and all our medical students. So great right side there. My wrong side. I've talked about being a grumpy old man before. I know I talk about how I go out a lot and I love hanging out with my friends, but we went to another Chicago 20-something Wrigleyville bar crawl for Halloween over the weekend. And though it was a pretty good time, I think I'm getting pretty tired of the bar crawl scene with those. So for those of you that don't know about the Wrigleyville bar crawls, they do the mustache crawl, they do a St. Patrick's Day crawl, they do a couple others. For a bar crawl, you'd love to have like an organized thing. People are jumping from bar to bar.
Sure.
There's deals going on. Like it's a
Like
great
in
time to be
college.
had
Like
by
in
all.
college.
Like in college. It's specifically like Chicago. We always do the brand of Chicago 20-something, and this was the Halloween bar crawl we did last year. It was a fantastic time. It was a kind of a smaller group, so we were able to stick together. It was bar crawl shit show over the weekend for Halloween. Living here now, we go to these bars practically every weekend. You now have to buy a ticket to go to all these bars that we go to every weekend that rarely, if ever, have covers. Not only that, the bars are 7 times more crowded than they are during a normal weekend. So it's just like hard to be at the place that you usually hang out at and have a really good time. So it just makes everything way harder. Not only that, everyone brings their friends into town, which like it is like great to have a large group, but how quickly you get split up at a bar crawl and lines are out the door. So you like spend half the time chasing your friends down instead of actually having fun. Add in the fact that my costume didn't have pockets. So it was kind of a problem. I was told the Ninja Turtle costume was a tough look, but we had a squad, so the turtles were rolling hard. We had each other's shells for the entirety of the night. It was a great time. But I was an old man. I was like, what do we like? Too many people. What are we doing here? Like, I'm kind of done with the bar crawl. So that was my wrong side. It was a shit show bar crawl weekend, but it was overall not so bad.
You would think that someone who didn't like their bar crawl experience, once they got home, they would go to bed at a decent hour, you would think.
Oh, I re-downloaded Minecraft and I
oh my god.
Now. It was so fun.
Wow. Well, that is a wrong side. I don't want to go on any bar crawls when I come visit, but I do want to go out and have a good time. But I'm not paying for no damn bar crawl. I'm going to the Bears game with you. That's gonna be my bar crawl payment.
Oh no, that's gonna be electric. Yeah.
Finally, my wrong side. Definitely to touch more grass on the weekends. I think I've been trying to do a little more pickleball. That helps. Working out more on the weekends, obviously, aside
Mhm.
from working out during the week. But my TV watching is starting to get a little sickening. Friday night was game one of the World Series. I was watching my dad and some of his friends. I was getting irritated because when it would go to commercial, they would just mute the TV and just listen to music at our house. And I said, "Why are you watching something else? You don't have to watch commercials." Like, well, how would you know when you go back? I'm like, you have that feeling. You have that feeling. So we were watching on a TV outside, but we could see inside my house a different TV. Like we could see it through the window.
Mhm.
And people were watching the game inside too. My dad had friends over.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, like how they were like, how are you gonna know when we should go back if we're just watching the Lakers game? I was like, well, I can see through that TV when to go back. And they said, how do you know when it's time to go back though? I go, well, because when they show up, the game was on Fox. When they show a
Mhm.
Fox commercial or an MLB commercial, that's the last commercial they'll show before going back to coverage. I was telling them, whatever channel you watch any game on, whenever they advertise something that also airs on that channel, whether it's Fox, CBS, NBC, or they show a commercial related to the sport, MLB, NFL, NBA, if it's one of those options, that's guaranteed the last commercial. I said, we don't believe you. I said, okay, let's watch. We watched. I don't even know the show, but Fox has some like Hawaii Five-0 type new show that's out. Rescue 911, I think is what it's called actually.
Oh, okay.
And it's like a Hawaii Five-0 Baywatch spinoff, not a
Okay.
spinoff, but like type show. And I was like, I'll bet you $10 after this commercial, the game comes back on. They're like, all right, you're on. Lo and behold, game comes back. They're like, lucky time. Let's do it next commercial. I said, okay, next commercial, same thing happens. MLB.com commercial. What do you know? Game comes back. I told you this. They're like, how do you know that? And I was like, I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of sports. I know when the games come back on. I'm elite at remote turning. That's my job. I'm a remote turner wizard. And they were like, all right. I don't even know the show, but Fox has some like Hawaii Five-0 type new show that's out. Rescue 911, I think is what it's called.
Light on your.
And it's like gotta be quick. And the remote is good. It's good, quick. Come on, better than that. So that was my wrong side. Is too much TV watching. I think, unfortunately. Rain Man of remotes.
You're like,
Yeah,
there's
sure.
there's just a feeling when the commercial breaks over.
Yeah.
You just got it
Yeah.
down to the second.
Yeah,
So
I'm really
you-
good at it. It's really bad.
I need to stay in and watch more TV. You need to go out and do a bar crawl or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
We'll-
definitely.
We'll
have
keep
to
each other
switch lives.
accountable.
Yeah, we'll have to switch lives. But great episode. I know this one's a little longer, but felt like it needed a lot of anger needed to come out, a lot of drama in our lives and our sports teams. But really happy you guys listened to it. Happy Wrong Side Wednesday. Happy Halloween. I hope everyone's out there, whether you're hanging out with friends, Halloween weekend, or going out, doing whatever, handing out the kids in your neighborhood. Happy Halloween. Happy Wrong Side Wednesday. Like, subscribe, follow us at Wrong Side Takes. Thank you guys for listening.
Stay spooky. Stay blessed.